Welcome to the Power Up Notes for April 2026. In this episode, I cover new games released for Linux, software compatibility improvements, Ubuntu updating to 26.04 LTS, and speak about why I felt it was in time to drop the spotlight section of these episodes. Stick around, there's a lot to cover today. Welcome to Game Notes. First up, Gods of Sand, a new RPG/gladiator manager with turn-based combat, has been released on Steam. So if you're interested in fighting games, this might be a new game you want to try out. Also, Proton 11.0 beta and Proton 10.0-4. Well, there's good news. Valve community has been busy squashing bugs. Notable fixes this month include HDR fixes. HDR is now properly working in Far Cry 5 on the OLED Steam Decks. So if you play Far Cry 5, you're going to notice some visual improvements. Anti-cheat in launchers. Significant fixes for Marvel Rivals, Assassin's Creed Shadows, and Wild Assault. So if you play any of those on Linux, you might notice some major improvements. Performance. A fix for They Are Billions finally stopped the low FPS issues during intro cinematics. So if you play that game, you should notice some improvement there. Now, Winepoint 11.7. Released to mid-April, this version became a major re-implementation of MX XML and had 7.1 speaker configuration support in direct sound. Great news of those with high-end audio setups. And the Steam OS alternative race is heating up as third-party distros focus on closing the gap with Valve's official software, starting with CatchOS taking the lead. CatchOS has recently overtaken Arch Linux in popularity on DistroWatch and ProtonDB reports. The April update introduced Shelly, a new graphic user interface that makes installing packages from the AUR, FlatHub, and app images much simpler for non-technical users. It also added fingerprint support for pseudo prompts, making security a bit more seamless for handheld users. Bazite's also got a major release. Bazite, the Fedora-based gaming distro, released its April update, moving to the OGC kernel and Mesa 26.0.4. They're working on a SteamOS alignment roadmap to bring features like TDP control and accurate changelogs directly into the Steam Deck user interface. Valve hardware updates. In a year in review post, Valve confirmed they are still hope to ship the new Steam Machine, Steam Frame, and Steam Controller in 2026, though they admitted that the global memory and storage shortages have made the first half of the year unfeasible. So, it'll be July or later when we'll see those things. Hopefully Valve can do it, and the community in general won't have to wait too much longer for those things. Now it's time for the next one. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Kernel Notes. The biggest news in the Linux world this month is the official launch of Ubuntu 26.04 LTS, which is nicknamed Resolute Raccoon, on April 24th. This is a foundational release that will set the stage for the next few years of the desktop. Linux kernel 7.0. Ubuntu 26.04 officially moves the distro to the 7.0 kernel, bringing Rust out of the experimental stage and into significantly improved memory management. GNOME 50. This release debuts GNOME 50, which includes a standout feature allowing the system cursor to render at your monitor's full refresh rate, even if the application you're using is lagging or running at a lower FPS. In a major move for creators, Ubuntu now ships with the NVIDIA CUDA out of the box, with AMD's ROCm platform easily available in the repos for local AI workloads. Also, Fedora Linux 44 also held its virtual release party on April 24th. A notable highlight for gamers is the Fedora Games Lab switching its default environment to KDE Plasma 6, which offers better support for Wayland, HDR, and variable refresh rate. So if you're gaming on Fedora, you should notice that. With that being said, it's time for the final section of this episode, the editorial. As you know, the spotlight has been where I've been showcasing poorly reviewed and unknown software from the Linux Mint repository that I personally use and thus can recommend that you try out. However, I can't find any more low-rated or zero-rated software to review, and that's partly due to how well Linux Mint ensures that applications in there are up to snuff. It's also partly due to the fact that I'm enjoying the software I have on my concurrent computer and don't need anything else. And their software is all highly rated. I'm a bit disappointed to drop a segment of this series, but in the end, if it makes for a better show for you, that's what I'll do. Until next time,